We always talk about the fact that accidents happen close to your house. Easy to be careless when you're riding in your own neighborhood. The accident occurred on a beautiful afternoon. The sun was out. It was a beautiful December afternoon. An afternoon that you'd say, well, perfect conditions. No ice, no snow, no water on the pavement. The sun was out, shining brilliantly in the sky. Something that directly affected my life and affected it to a very, very large degree, affected my family's life to a big degree as well. And I think it's something that you and I don't have to experience. I've taken the time to put the diagram on the board if you can visualize where this is. Churchill Street, 4th Street, in the town of Stillwater, Minnesota. The situation is my car, another car. In my car, I'm at the wheel, seat belt and shoulder belt on. My wife is in the front seat with me with no seat belt on. 3 youngsters are in the back of my station wagon, on the flat part of the station wagon, in the cargo area. Now these 3 kids, needless to say, are all young kids, very young. The oldest was 6 years old, my daughter, Amy. As I was coming to the stop sign, and there was a stop sign on this corner right here, and a stop sign on this corner right here, and a stop sign on this corner right here, and a stop sign on this corner right here. A 4-way stop, an all-way stop, A-L-L stop. Now, as I came to the corner, I stopped at the corner, and my procedure was exactly like I do every day. My foot was on the brake. I stopped with my front bumper, even with the stop sign. And I checked left, right, left. Kind of like this. I looked left. I looked right. I looked left. And the way was clear. And I proceeded out very slowly, because this particular corner is one that has lots of traffic in it. As I got out into the intersection, about right where my finger is, about at this point, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I heard like an explosion or like a shot from a gun. Now, I estimate I was going probably 10 miles an hour. And the 10 miles an hour that I was going was because I had just started out. Now, I still to this day do not know where this car came from. But this car came out of nowhere and struck my car right here, causing my car to spin completely around in a 360-degree circle. Now, what took place during that fraction of a second that the accident took place in? I'm at the wheel of the car. I'm looking in my rear view mirror, and my car is going around like this. I see in the back 3 little kids being tossed around like pieces of popcorn in my rear view mirror. All of a sudden, I see one of them explode through the glass on the side of the station wagon in the cargo area, that big long window. And I don't see that person come back. I see the second one go through the glass in my rearview mirror, and I don't see that person come back. I see the third person go over and come back and land in the cargo area of the car. And then I lost sight of this little person by the seat in the back. It screened my view. At the same time this is going on, my wife, who was right next to me, is going between me and the steering wheel and is bouncing off the door to my left and is going back over onto the other side and ends up off of the seat onto the floor of the car. The meantime, I'm hanging on to the steering wheel, and my car was completing the 360 and came to a stop, facing the same way I started out in, as I started from the stop sign. Very, very scary to me at that moment. The car stopped. I heard the little gal in the back crying. She was okay, I think. I didn't know. And I couldn't find the other two little people. I unbuckled my seatbelt and got out of the car and started to look. As I looked straight out, as I got out of the car, there was a body in the road right in front of me. I ran to that little body and found out the young man was there, laying in the pavement. Looked like he was injured a little, but was crying, but was okay, I think. My wife, who was over on the right side of the car, now is getting out of the car. Kind of dazed. I said, "Are you all right?" She said, "Yes, I think so." And she ran over and picked up the little boy. Now I'm looking. Where is my daughter Amy? Where is she? I'm looking to the right, to the left. I'm looking ahead. I'm looking behind the car. I can't see her because my car is right here at this time. That's my car. That's where it ended up. So I come over here, and the little boy was right here. I come up this way on the sidewalk, walked up here, and I found my daughter, Amy, right here, right by the stop sign. I saw her little body laying right there. I ran over to her. I didn't know what to expect. She was laying there. I knelt down beside her and picked her up, just like you would pick up a little youngster. And I put my hand under her head, and when I put my hand under her head, like we have a skull, there was no skull. There wasn't anything. Just kind of jelly. And that's what was there. There wasn't anything else. She wasn't whimpering, wasn't crying, wasn't doing anything. Just a rag doll, kind of like. At that moment, I think I went completely blank almost. At that time, the ambulance came to the scene. I felt somebody tapping me on the shoulder. We're the paramedics. We're the ambulance crew. We're here to help you. And I'm holding on to my daughter. I said, "Be careful. She doesn't have a back of her head." We got to Ramsey. As we got to Ramsey and we got out and he unloaded Amy out of the ambulance, and the neurosurgeon came down and said, "Come on along with us." And I went upstairs. He said, "You can sit here while we examine her quickly and do what we need to do." And what I thought took hours and hours and hours, and actually they tell me it took about 5 minutes. The neurosurgeon came back and he said, "I want you to sit down. I want you to listen to this." And said, "Marty, I've got some bad news." I think I had kind of anticipated that bad news, because I think when I picked Amy up, I knew you can't have that happen in the back of your head without some major trauma. And the neurosurgeon said, "Come on into the room." So he and I walked into the room. He said she's in bad shape. She's in a terminology that we would say she's brain dead at this point. We hope that something might, in the next few minutes, bring her around. But she's on life supports right now, and we don't know what's going to happen. But I want to prepare you for the worst, because right now, your daughter is, for all purposes, brain dead. Now, I really had a tough time dealing with that, folks. Something that really put me into a very, very traumatic situation. So a decision was made to keep Amy on life support and to look at the possibility of having some of her organs donated to someone else to keep somebody alive. And in the morning at 7 o'clock on Saturday, we had to make a decision of what we were going to do as far as being involved in the donor program. For all practical applications, Amy had died the night before. My daughter, Amy, 6 years old, just starting to be a joy to be with, just starting school actually, in kindergarten at that time. And we had just been to one of her sessions in class, and I was trying to think of all the wonderful times we had. We decided to become involved in the donor program and asked that whatever organs Amy had could be used for other people. Her organs were in perfectly good shape except for her brain. And we asked that those be allowed to be used for whatever the need was. I can tell you, it can happen to anybody, and you don't have to be very far from home for it to happen. I was a firm believer that accident would never happen to me. I thought I really knew all the answers. I'd been a driver's education teacher for 25 years prior to the accident, or 20 years, whatever it was, and I had never had a fender bender, and I thought, you know, I really practiced all the safety factors and everything. But I got careless one day and allowed 3 kids to ride in the back of my station wagon without being fastened down. People who study accidents tell us that accidents occur within 0.3 of a second. Always, always, always make sure everybody in your vehicle has your seatbelts on. I don't care if you have airbags or not, make sure you always have your seatbelts on. And if you have airbags in addition to that, you probably got the best going. I can tell you, it can happen to anybody.